Hello there, it's Wendy. Today I am sharing 5 study habits that you can start in 2026 to make it your best academic year yet. So if you want to improve your grades, reduce stress, and feel more in control when studying, this video is for you. Let's get started. Whoops. Okay, so habit number 1 is something I like to call the pilot habit. So imagine you're a pilot flying a plane. And you probably won't just start flying and then see where the plane lands, right? We want to make sure we keep continuously adjusting the settings so that we can reach our end destination. And the same actually goes for school. I used to be on autopilot pretty much all of the time. Like, my main goal for the week would be to just survive the week and get through the tests, the homework, the deadlines. And then I'd be like, next week I'm going to be free. And then next week, I would also get homework, assignments, deadlines. And then I would keep continuing to run on the hamster wheel. And this is why I like doing weekly checkpoints. It's actually the pilot habit, weekly checkpoints. So every Friday after I come back from school, I always like to do a bit of a reflection. I liked to do a bit of a reflection because I'm currently on a gap year and not having any type of school stuff right now. But I like to do weekly reflections. And it would just take 10 minutes, really quickly. And I would take my notebook, I would jot down what I did that week, if I had to adjust certain settings to be on the right track, and then plan for the next week. And you don't need to make this a whole 2-hour session. Just a quick 10-minute reflection will help you feel like you're more intentional with your studying. Okay, now let's go to habit number 2, which is something I call the Bullseye Habit. So, say you were an archer, right? You have a bow and you have an arrow. And you probably don't want to just be shooting your arrows in random directions. That wouldn't be super efficient because you want to hit the bullseye, right over here, because that's your target. I try to sort of apply roughly the same mindset to my studying. For every study session, I write on a sticky note what I want to achieve from that study session. And I like to write quite specific goals instead of vague ones. For example, for math, I used to write a goal study chapter 3. Well, let me write this. This isn't hard. Study chapter 3. So this is basically what I would do. And what I kind of realized doing this is that I started sort of trying to get through the chapter really quickly, just skimming through the pages, trying to be quick to complete the task. And I wasn't truly learning anything. If you were to ask me
Wendy, what did you actually learn this session?
I probably wouldn't be able to tell you. So this is why I have become a huge fan of very specific goals for study sessions. So we will throw this away. There it goes. And something I usually write right now is, for example, be able to solve any quadratic equation. This kind of takes a long time. Anyways, if, for example, the chapter were about quadratic equations, so I'd write something like this as the session goal. And I feel like this really helped me because I was starting to focus more on the content itself rather than just simply ticking off all the boxes and trying to be quick and trying to just get stuff done so I feel kind of productive. But actually I wasn't, You might also have a small list of learning outcomes at the end or the beginning of each chapter in your textbook. I think many textbooks actually have this thing. So you can also base your session goals off of that. Awesome. Okay, let's go to habit number 3, which is the second brain habit. Okay, have you ever felt like your brain is just packed with so much information and you just feel like it could just explode any minute? Actually, I feel this way quite often, especially during busy periods. And this is where the second brain habit comes in. So essentially I've started externalizing my brain. So I use a few apps where I can dump my thoughts in and dump to-do lists, things I need to do, the doctor's appointment, homework deadlines, whatever it is. I like to use different apps for that. And this sort of really helps because I can free up lots of mental space in my brain so I can do the actual thinking rather than just memorizing stuff that I still have to do, and then it just feels like your brain is just overloading with stuff. Right now I'm using 3 apps. I use Keep Notes for project ideas, essay ideas. I use Digical for my calendar, and that is essentially just like any other calendar app, I would say, but it's really useful for like keeping track of my appointments and stuff like that. And then lastly, I have Tasks. It's literally called Tasks, and here I write down all the small tasks that I need to get done. It's basically just a to-do list, so very easy, very simple. I believe Notion can do like all of these things, but I like to have different apps for different purposes. That's just something I personally like doing, but obviously it doesn't really matter which app you use as long as you stick to it and as long as it's useful. Okay, so habit number 4 is the reset habit. It's like a really small habit, but it's super, super useful. So I don't know what your desk currently looks like, but mine tends to get really messy when left unchecked. So here you will probably find like a picture of my desk during a really stressful period. As you can see, it's not looking too clean. Yeah, I actually, if you're wondering why did you take a photo of this? Well, I actually took a photo of this because I thought it looked so sad to a point that I thought it was kind of funny how sad it looked. Yeah. And I would occasionally have these like motivational bursts of energy where I would clean up my whole messy desk. In other words, my mom forcing me to clean up my desk. But yeah, those were really, really painful bursts, and I didn't like those at all. And also, on the whole, I didn't feel great about my desk either. I believe there's like a saying that goes something along the lines of, the state of your desk reflects the state of your mind. I don't know if that's like generally true, but for me, it really was. I feel a whole lot more productive when my desk is clean. And of course, there are people who probably work like really well in messy environments, but for me personally, I felt like I work the best when my desk is just nice and clean. So I've decided to implement the 1-minute desk swipe. So what this basically entails is that every night before I go to sleep, I take a look at my desk and I clean up all the stuff that I don't need for the next day. And it's only like 1 minute, so I've kind of made it sort of a habit right now to see, okay, if my desk is like sort of messy and there's stuff I don't need for the next day, I just clean it up. And I like to put on some music while doing this because it just makes the whole process a lot more enjoyable, if you don't like cleaning at least. Okay, so the 5th one is the muscle habit. This one's actually a bit more of a mindset shift. So I like to think of learning as going to the gym. Sometimes you probably feel a bit sore after going to the gym. You know, your muscles, they hurt, they ache, like everywhere. Sometimes I have like my shoulder that hurts. And yesterday I went swimming and now my shoulders hurt, which is kind of sad. But yeah, I would say a nice saying that kind of encapsulates this is no pain, no gain. And I know it's a bit cliche maybe, but I feel like it's so true in a lot of things that we do, including studying. So when I struggle with like a homework exercise that I find hard, or with a concept that I struggle with or that I don't quite understand, I reframe this struggle as leveling up. Just like when we are going to the gym and our muscles hurt afterwards, we're actually getting better. We're getting fitter every time. And that's because we learn most when we do stuff that's just outside of our comfort zone. Because like if you only do the easy problems, we are probably not leveling up that much. But when we do the harder problems and we learn from those, that's where the real growth happens. And I have also made this a sort of habit. So for each study session, I like to pick 1 or 2 problems that are just slightly above my level. And this allows me to grow faster, and it also sort of makes studying more fun because it's challenging. You're doing something that challenges your brain, and when you solve the hard problem, it's really, really motivating. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope these tips were useful in your journey, and let me know in the comments which habits you would like to try out or which one you're already using, and see you all next time. Bye bye.